Pride Month is officially underway, and to celebrate this morning, we are kicking off a series of weekly interviews focused on local LGBTQ+ issues and events. Steve is down in the Arc Lounge right now with Patti Hearn, the executive director of Seattle Pride, and TeZATalks, the headliner at Seattle Pride in the park this Saturday at Volunteer Park. Steve.
Yes, hello and happy Pride to you both.
Hi.
It's officially underway. Yeah, so tell us about what people can expect at Seattle Pride in the Park this Saturday.
Yeah, so Pride in the Park is a big community event. It's very family friendly. There are food trucks and a dance stage and a beer garden and lots of queer vendors selling their art, and then music performances.
And when you think about some of the issues that the LGBTQ+ community are facing right now, how does the theme for this year sort of play into that, both positive and negative in terms of what the community is dealing with at the moment?
Yeah. The theme is louder, and I think you're right, it has multiple meanings. It's certainly about being loud in a way of celebration and joy and being vocal about that, but it's also about being vocal about resistance and fighting back and not being willing to accept the attacks that are coming our way.
Yeah, and quite a few people will attend this on Saturday, right? It's big.
Yeah, 12,000, 15,000, somewhere in there.
Just a few. And Teza, congratulations to you, headliner. And tell us about, for people who aren't familiar with your music, tell us about some of your backstory and specifically about your music.
Well, I'm a hardcore pop star. I am blending the genres of nu metal, punk, alternative hip hop, and electropop. And my music is raw, emotional, anthemic, and it's loud in all the right ways.
I like how you say that, loud in all the right ways. What do you hope people take away from seeing you on stage on Saturday?
Well, I hope that I can remind the community that our power, it is a part of our pain, and that it is our joy that is sacred, and that our existence is a rebellion in its own. I hope that people, most importantly, feel seen, and I feel that they walk away knowing that they can take up space and be louder and celebrated and scream and dance. That's the whole point of coming to a TeZATalks performance, is that you're reminded of your freedom.
And you're reminded of your power, too, which we still have a lot of, right?
Yes.
What was it like to hear that you were going to headline this event?
I am still overwhelmed and full of gratitude, especially this year. It feels like such a responsibility and such an honor to be able to perform at Pride. And I just want to make sure that I am representing in the best way that I can, as well as continuing to make the most space.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's going to be really cool. What other events? Obviously, Seattle Pride in the Park is coming up on Saturday. We, of course, know about the big weekend at the end of this month. What else can people expect during the month?
Let's see. There's also we have the official Seattle Pride Legacy Drag Brunch on Sunday, the day of the parade, and that's super fun with drag queens and yummy food at Frolic. And then we have after the parade, there's Queer Pier Pride with the Crocodile. So they're running another music performance that you can go to if you leave the parade. You can head on down to the waterfront on the pier for a concert, and that's very fun too.
Amazing. And we should know, these are the official Pride guides, right? So these are starting to circulate out in the community, right?
They're out there.
Okay, so a really good guide if you're trying to figure out some events to go to, even within, you know, your own local neighborhood, that type of thing.
Absolutely.
That's a really good resource.
It has a full calendar. You can look at multi-day events, single-day events. It has everything in there.
Amazing. I wanted to ask you a couple questions about some serious matters. One is, I know that you were on the show a couple of weeks ago talking about the financial picture and wanted to get an update on where things stand. I think when we talked last time, it was somewhere in the neighborhood of $300,000 that the organization was short, which could impact next year. Where are you guys at now?
A little bit better.
Okay.
We're still down quite a bit, more like $150,000 to $200,000. There are some pledges out there. The community of individuals have come through to support, and that's been really, really helpful. And then some sponsors did come through. We're still probably lost about 20 sponsors this year.
Okay. How significant is that, 20?
$200,000.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
it's like 25% of them, right? We had 80 something, and we lost about 20.
And as we noted during our conversation last time, this month is good. It's just the impact of what next year could bring.
Right. I think
Okay.
it's long-term planning. It is also affecting our Seattle Pride Impact Fund and some of the support for smaller grassroots organizations that feels really important to us.
Okay. I also wanted to ask you about the statement that Seattle Pride released about a week and a half ago after the protest and counter-protest at Cal Anderson Park, condemning the actions of Seattle police. And I know that our team at KOMO looked at some of the arrest reports. There were allegations that protesters kicked and hit officers, which may have led to some of the arrests. In your view, how should Seattle police have acted in that situation differently?
Well, I think whenever there's violence against the queer community, it's something that's going to be looked at and scrutinized, right?
Yeah.
And for a protest that was in Cal Anderson Park, which is in the heart of Capitol Hill, which is the gay neighborhood historically and now, it's really problematic and challenging that event was even there, and then that the police responded with what looks from many perspectives to be excessive force against the counter-protesters. So I personally wasn't there, and I didn't see it, but lots of people were, and there's, as you know, lots of film and video.
Yeah.
So I can't claim to know every detail of what happened, but what we would hope for is that any law enforcement that's there to protest would try to do as much de-escalation as possible and really work against there being any violence against the queer community.
Is there any impact in terms of security efforts or the partnership that Seattle Pride has with SPD on events this month at all?
There's no effect. They generally they're outside the perimeter of the parade, and they're not at Pride in the Park either. We do hire private security for both of those events. Certainly SPD is there at the edges and on call if there is something that is needed, and they manage the road closures and all of the traffic diversion that needs to happen as well.
Do they actually march in the parade?
They don't march in the parade.
They don't. Okay.
They are welcome to as individuals certainly to march in the parade, but as a police force, and it's not part of our policy, and so police in uniform do not march in the Seattle Pride Parade.
Knowing that we're just at the beginning of Pride Month, and I wanted to ask both of you this, given the conversations that are happening across the country right now, and the attention that the LGBTQ community is getting at the moment, and criticism and backlash and all that, what do you hope people think about this month and over the coming weeks, whether they're part of the LGBTQ community or not?
I hope they think about, some of the things that Teza was talking about our existence is valid, right? And I hope that they think about joy, and I hope they think about community, and ultimately it comes down to queer people and trans people are human, and that isn't a lot to ask for people to think about and remember.
Yeah. What about for you?
I mean, the fact that we are even able to have this event is a declaration. So visibility is a part of saving lives. And again, representation is undeniably important in that. And joy is revolutionary, and our community is the medicine. So I'm just hoping that people show up with compassion and show up with fearlessness. And, at the end of the day, it's just going to be a fight, but we're going to fight together and side by side.
I was in New York a couple weeks ago and stopped by Stonewall. The Stonewall Inn was kind of reminded of what you just said about what this month is all about, which is continuing the fight and also celebrating how far the community has come. We should mention, when can people watch you on Saturday? That's important.
Oh, well, since I'm headlining,
Yes.
I will be on in the evening.
Wonderful.
I believe 6.
I think it's
Yeah.
6 p.m. Okay. Have a good time.
I'm gonna have a great time.
Good.
Can you tell? Like
I can tell you're very excited about
I'm
this.
so excited. I
As you
have
should
so
be.
many fun things planned.
Good.
But if you haven't been to a show, we do rage. So that is definitely
Come
one
to
thing,
party.
and we're loud about it.
I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, and Patti,
Thank you
always
so
great
much
to
for
have you
having
us.
come
Thank
in, and happy Pride to you both.
Thank you.
Again,
Happy
thank you very
Pride.
much. Pride officially underway. Here we go.
Time to get ready to rage, Steve.
That's right.
Hey, I love
Hey.
it. Just like Teza said, we're going to rage out there. Thank you so much
You
for that
bet.
important conversation. Seattle Pride in the Park will be held this Saturday, June 7th at Volunteer Park from noon to 7 p.m. For a full schedule of Seattle Pride events, scan the QR code in the corner of your screen. That link that pops up will take you directly to KOMOnews.com. From there, you'll find a link to Seattle Pride's website.